paratroopers and did several hundred jumps afterwards, and was 17 years still in stuff like
Yeah, the
that.
boy had no problem at the leg after that. That's the funny part. But it kind of makes sense, because NATO, unfortunately, has this stupid fucking law that I do not know how available, how valid is for each country. But for Romania, we have a limit of about 80,000 people. That's how many soldiers
Okay.
NATO say that we can have, which is something that I never understood. Poland has a limit of like 100,000 or a little bit over 100,000 people. And I'm like, who the fuck is NATO to decide for my country how many people can we have
Yeah, in the
or
end,
we should have? That's one of the things that I dislike extremely a
it's
lot
maybe not
about
more from
NATO.
the EU. That's not every army is maybe strong enough to invade the other country. Can maybe come from
I'm
them.
I'm not sure about that. I know for Germany was the reunification where we did ourselves, but these are usually probably after the Cold War disarmament treaties. That's usually what it more is, I think, than
Hmm.
actually NATO. Because a lot of treaties decided, oh yeah, we want to disarm and stuff like that, and it's kind of at a yeah. Other states like Russia decide to, yeah, we're just gonna fuck that and just not gonna follow it and stuff like that. So
No,
it's
but
kind
this
of,
is the problem with those treaties. But we're here, that's the problem with these treaties because
yeah.
it pushed NATO to lower its guard, saying that, oh, everything is good, peace and love, which didn't happen.
Yeah.
And although that I don't really agree with everything that the Americans and or the American government are doing, they have a point in keeping that old saying: "If you want peace, prepare for war. Si vis
Yeah.
pacem para bellum." It makes sense
Yeah.
because if you want to keep and maintain the peace and the well-being of your country, you should always have the guard up. Look at the Swiss military. They have been an what was the name, Elias?
From
A
the
neutral country.
neutral, yeah,
Neutral country,
yeah,
yeah. You've been neutral for such a long time. The
yeah,
last main war that you had, it was against Napoleon.
yeah, Napoleon, yeah,
Yeah.
and the
Well,
Civil
technically
War.
the small civil war.
Yeah, but this is
Technically the
not
small
counted.
civil.
This is just it's a regional fight.
I don't really count that.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
really count that because it's not like somebody actually tried to invade Switzerland and
Yeah,
conquer it,
Yeah.
So I
yeah,
don't really count that. But here is the thing: Switzerland kept its guard up since then,
yeah,
and nothing bad
Yes.
happened. And during the Cold War, you also pushed, even though that you were not NATO, you push your technology and the creation and innovativity
yeah,
in coming with some new defense systems, um, weaponry, ammunition, and whatnot. You try to develop,
yeah.
even as a small country, which heads down for that.
Coming a little
But
bit from
now,
the uh, s- sorry, coming original a bit from the German culture because Germany on the time was really technology. Also, we are looking that we have like high education. Example, Albert Einstein. That we have really good universities. This is why the Swiss have all time evaluate the army in a high standard. Coming a little bit from the
I
mentality.
A
understand.
lot of German
Yeah,
engineering, like also during World War II, like Germans, like Switzerland's main trade partner was Germany.
yeah,
Like lots of resources, a lot of technology, a lot of guns, a lot of ammunition just goes to Germany, and Germany gives food and stuff like that. Like it was continued trade, and
yeah,
also after the war, a lot of people went to Switzerland and stuff like that. And there's always been kind of connection. And if you look at the original, like if Switzerland would have not formed as a state, like hypothetically centuries ago, they would have probably just followed like most other German peoples into some kind of German state. Like, yeah.
I understand.
yeah.
By the way, Elias, what was the second question?
Yeah, the second question is how was the recruiting process? We a little bit move it a little bit away from that. The
Yeah, no problem.
recruiting process
Okay.
The
in the
recruitment
Legion.
process.
Yeah.
Okay, the thing is as follows. You
Mhm.
have to understand that after the COVID, many, at least the Legion, and I think the French army, generally speaking, lowered lowered its standards so they can refill the void, the empty places left in the system. So, what was the physical and medical test that was in the Legion in 2018 or 2019? Still, it wasn't the same as in 2020
Mhm.
because too many places got left empty because for about 6 months there were no people coming at Oban at all, and the people were still going out civil or they will desert. So the Legion was losing a couple of hundreds of guys almost every month,
Yeah.
Mm,
and they had to refill everything.
mm.
So the standards got down a little bit, but still the
And
checking was there.
if I
Mhm.
remember also when
I just wanted to mention this to actually give you a little bit the context of
Yeah, of course.
why and
and
how.
can I also help that context? If I remember right, COVID, like the very last stretches of COVID, the Russia-Ukraine war happened, correct?
It was.
Again, please, I did not hear
The
you well.
last stretches of COVID, Russia-Ukraine
Yeah,
war happened, correct? And also, if I remember also correctly, I read several other articles, several hundred, like there was like over 700 Russian Ukrainians pretty much had the option to just leave, and that's probably also again, lot recruitment goals just
they had
not.
no option to leave. They had no option to leave.
They did not.
I mean, they had the option to desert. They had the option to desert.
Ah.
Yeah.
I do not. I do not know where this idea comes that they had the option to leave or that the French Legion is going to support Ukraine. No, because the general at the time made a whole video about you gave your word to serve France and the Legion and its interest, right? So keep your word, do your contract until the end, and then you can do whatever you want. But they didn't have that option. You can go, you serve your country, and maybe come back later. No, you sign the contract, you stay in or you desert, all in or all out, no in between.
Mm.
But back to the recruitment thing. So you have to understand that sometimes, um, let's say that you go to Oban, right? Right? You go to Oban. But as I did, is that I stopped at Paris. Paris was much closer and easier to get there from Romania.
Yeah.
So I stopped at Paris. They do some basic uh, medical testing and what psychotechnic tests and
Yeah.
stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But you're going maybe to retake the same test at Oban. But I did it in Paris. So the one of the tests was like checking your spinal cord, to see if it's like right, your backbone to see if it's right, if you have some scoliosis, if you are good with the balance, if this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Some running, some pull-ups and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
But more or less the same happen. But the more or less the same happens in Oban. Only that in Oban, the medical test is going to be more. What's the name of it? In depth, right?
Yeah.
You're going to take piss test, blood test, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but you have to understand that they lower the standards because I spoke with one of my friends lately,
Yeah.
and when he got in 2016, there was also a bone density test.
Yeah.
Which when I got in, I didn't know about that. Nobody said something about that,
Yeah.
No, nothing. Also, your teeth. In the Legion, I do not know if they still maintain this standard, but they will not accept already if you have problem with your teeth, right?
Yeah.
If you have like some black spots on your teeth, if you have too many teeth missing, also it's another problem.
Yeah.
I remember that back in the day, I do not know about now, but I remember that many years ago they had a standard of you could join the Legion as long as you did not have more than 4 tooth missing.
Okay.
But that also might have changed.
Yeah, maybe.
And also unfortunately, and I say that with big words, unfortunately, they lowered even the standards for like psychotechnic and IQ test. Like
Oh, shit.
they will accept.
So you received the stupid
Yeah,
cinnamon.
exactly. Now we receive so many guys that are worthless actually in the Legion, and that's not even the worst part.
Oh, shit.
But like we had a case. I do not know what's going on right now. I do not know how the police is dealing with. But a couple of months ago, we had an extremely big case about a corporal chef,
Mhm.
an Indian one. Keep that in mind. It starts with an Indian, so it starts great.
Yeah.
That was asking the guys to pay him money so he will pass their test, the psychological test and whatnot.
Yeah, of course.
He even tried to what's the name in English?
For what?
Advertise. He even advertised this thing in his region, his district, in his country.
Mhm.
That if you pay this much money, you're going to pass the psychological test. if you pay this much money, you can pass even the medical test. And he was asking 2, 3, 5,000 euro per guy.
Fuck. It was
That's extreme. Those are big money. Even for like a European salary, those are big money.
yeah.
And for somebody
Yeah.
coming from India, there have been guys that asked their whole village to gather up money so he can enter.
hmm
He got in debt all his village or all most of his city. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
Parents selling their car and whatnot. And some of the guys, unfortunately, did not make it because the guy could not make them pass every single fucking test.
No.
And some of the guys paid the money for nothing. I do not know exactly how he got caught. Somebody spoke against, I guess, a whistleblower.
Yeah.
But imagine, dude, he passed, from what it's known, he passed about 110 guys
Yeah.
that are maybe retards in real life if he wasn't there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
110 guys, and let's say that he asked for like 3,000 for each guy, which means, yeah, about 330,000 euros.
Holy shit. It's a big
So,
corruption
but
there.
that's not, yeah,
in
there is
large,
there is some corruption.
in large part of the world, that's a lot of money. It's a lot
Yeah.
of money.
I'm sorry, please.
And in large part of the world, it's a lot of money. And I also want to do I also wanted to agree with you. I just found the article that was reading. I misinterpreted it completely. So yeah, what that when you go to about what I said with Ukraine, that allowed a 2-week notice to get families who Ukrainian legionnaires who have families in Ukraine, that they get their families out. That's basically what they allowed. But
Yeah,
all
basically they will give you a vacation of 2 weeks to recover your family, basically.
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
But this is
That
okay.
what I
This is
found.
complete.
Yeah, that's absolutely legit.
And many guys actually did that, but
Yeah.
not all of them. Some guys just sent money at home, so they have enough money to travel up until France, Germany, or other
Yeah.
countries that will offer them safety, protection, work, and housing.
Yeah. Option 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I also follow some guys who are like ex-French foreign legionnaires, I guess, who after their contract is over, just went right back to Ukraine and stuff like that.
Some
That's
of them
happened.
actually did. Some of the guys actually deserted to go in Ukraine just for the sake of fighting.
Yeah.
Even foreigners, I know, I heard that as well. Like people who don't have
But
nothing to do with the war.
exactly, and that's a big problem. But back to to your question, Elias.
Yeah.
Also about the Legion, you have to remember also the Gestapo, the good old Gestapo,
Oh, still
which
exists.
basically under another form than the old one, but it still does exist. And
Okay.
it's basically that's how we call like their office there. It's like a
Yeah.
Direction Generale of Research and whatnot. But
Yeah.
the idea is this Gestapo of the Legion is basically how to say it. It's like a CIA, FBI of the Legion that is going to actually check everything from you,
Yeah.
all your fucking life. They have access to your Facebook. They have access to this. They have access to whatnot. They do a pretty good job, huh? They almost function like a small version of the Interpol, I may say.
Shit.
And like, but they also test you. They also test you there. For example, putting questions like, for example, I got a question from my interrogator. He's not an interviewer. He's an interrogator at that point.
hmm
Um, why you have still like 1 kilogram or 2 kilograms of hashish in this date at this hour in this city? I was like,
Yeah.
I started to laugh a little bit under my medical mask at the time. Remember during the times of COVID,
Yeah.
I started to laugh because like, oh, okay, so it's one of those shit tests.
Yeah.
I see, but because I haven't been in that city, I didn't have the car. I didn't have like a driving license at the time,
Yeah.
and I was like, you have the drugs in your car. Well, I never had a car. I didn't even have the driving license, so no, I would have never done that. So they put these type of questions to see your reaction, how you hold it, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I had it easy. I had it easy because there was a guy, if I remember correctly, he was like a Portuguese
Yeah.
or Brazilian. I don't remember exactly, but he got punched about 2 times during the interrogation.
Shit.
Why? Why? Just because.
Sounds fine, funny. In one way. Yeah.
No, just because he was with a very old corporal chef, and he was old at least at physically, he was looking quite old. But being at the Gestapo as a corporal chef, well, that's something. And yeah, he slapped the guy, and the same corporal chef also just, when he slammed the door, right?
Yeah.
Basically, he got out like slamming the door. He grabbed one guy by the t-shirt and he pulled him inside. He didn't say nothing. He just called his name. He presented himself.
Okay.
The guy, yeah, President Corporal Chef. He grabbed him by the t-shirt. Get him, motherfucker.
Okay.
That was funny to see. That was funny to see and scary at the time.
Of course, because you not know what
And
happened.
scary at the time. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And you have all time.
Also, they will
I
ask.
think psychologic
They
is.
will ask.
Sorry. I think many psychologic is that's the Legion. What you thinking? What happen in the Legion? What can happen in all the instruction? Because the Legion is so hard in your mind that you are more scared in this moment because you not know where you enter really and what can happen really happen there.
And with what people, why they are like that,
Yeah.
But yeah. Some other questions about the interview?
No, this is first more the basic, how you coming. So I think then after that you are in the second you are Rouge, so you coming selected for the Legion, I think, and then
All right.
yeah,
All right. So when you go to the Albania and you are in the selection process, you're called in something blue.
blue, yeah,
It's blue.
Yeah.
And then you go to Rouge, meaning red, because when you go to Rouge,
yeah,
when you're in red, you've been accepted, and you're going to have your uniform, your beret, your combat shoes,
Mhm.
and you will start to get your like all the equipment, the basic equipment for the instruction and for the years of service that are going to
Yeah.
follow. Like basically your backpack, your bags, your like
everything. So the
tactics and
basic
tactical
needs
stuff
for the
and whatnot.
military.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, but mainly
yeah,
the
we did it
bags.
too.
Yeah.
The in processing essentially, where you get all your clothes issued and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, the clothes, the gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Swiss Army is a
But
bit
just because
it's just when
separate-
you're starting the instruction where you receive the material. But I think the Legion is a bit different because you take the guys directly to the ground school of as basic training. And I think in the Swiss Army, I think the German is a little bit similar. You go there on the caserne and recruited, and then you receive your material.
What was in the U.S. Army though? How was the process?
The U.S. Army, we don't talk because it's not enough long. This is why we're just talking about the German, French,
law,
and
Swiss, and the
Swiss,
Legion.
I can say like my father was in U.S. Army. I can tell what he told me, and I also have like for that family connections. And from what I can tell, the Americans are very centralized of recruiting. They also have very similar to like most professional armies have recruiting centers and stuff like that. And you essentially go there, say apply, do your tests, blah blah blah, like in most countries as well. Then you go to one of the 4 stations they basically have for the U.S. Army, and for the Marine Corps, I think it's only 2 stations.
Mm-hmm.
You essentially go there.
Parris Island and
and you essentially go there. You're in a waiting area. This is something that we don't have. We in Europe we don't have like. The waiting area is there's nothing happening. You get completely first in process within the 24 hours closed, and then it can have to be up to a month, nothing. You just eat, sleep, do a little bit of running, and essentially wait until you get into your proper basic training. It's like almost like a pig processing plant almost. It's so centralized. Like there's a little like it is then you're essentially going to the basic training, do your basic training, and some have, for instance, a connected system where you have basic training and advanced training, and then you go to unit, or some have a specific job, then you do basic training, and then you go to your job school. That's essentially how it works with
By the
the
way,
Americans.
Okay.
how long is the basic instruction for the German army?
3 months,
Yeah.
Ah, 3 months. I
and
understand.
then
Mm,
and then the
Uh,
advanced training would be another 3 months after that.
yeah.
I understand.
We have
Um, in the Legion is still four. It's always 4 months. It's basically some more or less like the Marines, 4 months. In Swiss Army, it was still 4 months, right,
four
Elias?
months, yes. So you have 8 weeks normally. Also depends. As I was in the air defense, there was a little bit different the ground basic training, but normally it's 8 weeks training of basic of the military stuff, and then you make the specialized after this 8 weeks for
Is
your
that
unit.
so for the French War Legion? Is it then the advanced and the and basic training together, or are they separated?
No, they are extremely separated. What happens is that you have the 4 months of basic training where you're not going to learn just the basic training, but you have to put effort into understanding the fucking language, the
Yeah.
French.
Ah, okay.
You have courses about that and whatnot. And depending on who are your instructors, because instructors and like the sergeants that are there to teach you and corporals are sent by other regiments.
Yeah.
So basically, if
Mm.
you get into a section that's having only infantry guys, they're going to fuck you up first of all.
Yeah, of course.
The infantry, it's always that way.
And you're going to be more or less focused about like a basic rifleman, you're going to have their influence and whatnot. You're going to learn from them like about some other regiments, but they won't really tell you a lot. But if you have, but that's one of the reasons why I believe it's mainly mixed, because you have guys from the combat engineers like I am,
Yeah.
the infantry, paratroopers and whatnot. So basically you have a perspective from everything.
Yeah.
Mm.
After the 4 months, you're going to leave for back at Oban. You're going to take your phone back, your some paperwork, and then you're going to the regiment that you'll be sent, or if you had the chance to be between in the first, you can actually choose
Hmm.
the regiment that you want. If there are no more places for your section, let's say that you got the last guy, you're the fifth guy, and you wanted to go in Guyana, right? But for Guyana, there were only three places,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So you'll go to the second or third option, depending how many places there are. Anyway, after you go to your regiment, you probably will be affected right at the company. You'll be a part of a company right away. If not, they're going to put you on the wait, quote unquote, until you do your, we call it
We
FPS,
go a little bit
Formation
later.
Technique de Spécialité.
I think it's good because I want just a little bit holding the structure of the interview because we are now go too wide forward. But it's good that people know a little bit the structure about the basic training. I
Mm.
want first a little bit go. How was the first weeks? So the first 4 weeks in instructions. Are there was so I think Mark, you have now to talk. How was the first 4 weeks in the Bundeswehr? How you directly many drill or you have slowly instruction, you receive material, etc.
Uh,
Yeah.
by the way,
It's
by the way, you
it's
pronounce you pronounce wrong Wehrmacht.
Wehrmacht, yeah.
it's, it's not.
Attention is
I'm
YouTube.
German. I'm gonna say I'm German, not gonna be humorous. It has not been called Wehrmacht in 1945,
Yeah.
but
Is now the
so
Bundeswehr.
yeah, the Bundeswehr. Yeah, it's a slow drive of the Bundeswehr.
Hmm.
It goes more intense over time. We don't yell at all. It's very much the kind of army when you go in, very much you are a grown up. Fucking behave like that. Like that's pretty much. It's basically like you're not treated like a child, put it on a hand, like or screamed at like the Americans do. You're a grown up. Fucking behave like it, and that's pretty much how it goes through. So it's more of of course, or it's more of a slow drag.
Hmm.
It's instead of it's not very. It's not the most screaming. It's not. It's not. They don't scream at you. They chew you out. But it's more like the.
It's like they're angry, but they speak calmly to you.
Yeah.
They're going to put you to do this, and that calmly. I think that's actually kind of worse. It's kind of scary. It's like
Yeah.
it's not, it's like a criminal that it's not like, oh, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. No, listen up. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to cut off your head, and I'm going to cut you into multiple pieces. All right.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm going to
It's
start from
it's
the neck right away, and then or from the legs. I'm actually thinking that I'm going to start from the legs.
Attention
So
is
in that
YouTube.
way,
We need a
you're
little
going
bit
to suffer
attention with
much more.
so talk because when YouTube think we are extremists in yet. We need
No, I understand, but you see what I mean, boys?
yeah, of course.
yeah. With us, it's more like scream. Like there's loud yelling where it needs to be heard. Like for instance, you need a person and you will yell his name, like he's cleaning or something like that, and you need him for I don't know some weird paperwork or he fucked up something like that,
hmm
and then you basically yell him yell through the yall that he should come there, and then you run there pretty much. And
Yeah, because he's so far away that you need to yell at him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like in the anger is very much not. It's not an aggression. It's more of a like this, very much this very stern, almost like very stern. I put it, boss you have to a certain extent. Not like it isn't a boss, but it's very much very more disappointing, and it feels to a certain extent. Yeah, you feel like absolute shit afterwards and want to feel better. To a certain self-improvement, to a certain extent, a certain drive, to a certain extent. But
Yeah.
it's
So
always
so
very
like a big brother talking to you and say, "Hey, I'm not proud of you," and then you are a little bit fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to slap you.
Yeah.
Yeah. With us, it's also very much physical. It's also very much physical in the sense of the fucking up comes not from the yelling. It's more of the physical, of the physical training. It's more like doing like a lot of marching, a lot of the physical stuff, going over, like hitting it, like like when you go an obstacle course, stuff like that.
Okay.
That's the stuff.
Mm.
Like the very first time we were kind of what was it? I didn't really expect it. We just go on a march. I thought it would be a nice, enjoying march. Then came the marching order for running with backpacks. That was kind of surprise.
Oh, baby.
It was so.
That was hot, I guess. That was hot. That was
Yeah.
hot, I guess.
Yeah.
That is always brutal. Like marching with backpacks, like
hmm
with rifle, and for several kilometers. And one time we actually needed to go. We needed to go up a mountain.
hmm
Up a mountain with backpack and a rifle, and if we didn't do it in unison, we needed to go back downstairs, back to the bottom, and do it all again. And so many times till we actually all do it in unison.
Oh.
I feel
And
your pain, bro.
Yeah. I
yeah,
feel this with
it
you.
was
Because so I talk now for the Swiss Army because when you started there, so you have now make the recruition, you have the session where you go, and I was in Emmen, I was in close to Lucerne. I was there first day. I was really early because I was one of the motivated. I want to go in military, and then I was the first there, and then you see just on this railway station like a truck, okay, and they say just there. Don't talk, jump him up. Okay, okay. We jumping up, and I was first in a empty truck alone, looking right, left, nobody there. And then coming one guy after the other on the top, and more. And the truck was full in the end. And then we go there, you see nothing, and then just so one guy in the guard, we were driving in the guard cage, show everybody the Marschbefehl, also the order to
March
duty.
order.
Yeah. March order, yeah. And then so, okay, we need everybody hold this in the hand. Okay, looking general good. Okay, you putting down, you are there, jumping out. Okay, then you see, okay, there you need give you a service book because you received this in the recruition service, your service book, and then you need wait in a line. Okay, zack, and after that you receive directly your rifle. You have just there the lieutenant who coordinated all the school, and he give everybody his rifle. And then we was just there. You have one corporal will show you before how you say hello to a lieutenant. You say recruit soldier, recruit Lieutenant Elias. I'm to take my rifle, and then he say when he is good, then he show the rifle, and you need to take it really seriously. The point is, I have from the moment chewing gum. As I have just touched it. So why you have a chewing gum? This is respectful loss. I need running again out. I need make a tour on the place. It was a little bit there to fucked up in the beginning, and then running back. And then they take again. I take the rifle, and so you receive directly the rifle. And then say, okay, what is your what you are a recruit? I'm recruit this and this. Okay, you are section 2, and then you receive your lieutenant. The aspirant to lieutenant, because it's a little bit special in the Swiss Army. Your corporals are still in training. They are training to be corporal. The lieutenants are trained becoming lieutenant, and this is everybody is in the learning process. But they make for an instruction or a second instruction, so everybody have a.
Seems strange for me.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange, but it works real well because.
Well, it's the militia system. You don't have a long sergeant who has been there several years. It's a militia system.
Yeah, it's just really.
Oh, I understand now.
It go really. You're learning quick. This is the point. This is why you receive directly your rifle directly, because you not have time to cha. You need to have directly go on the hard stuff. So you're still in civil. You have a rifle in your back. Yeah.
So you learn like during like in the process.
In the process,
the
yeah.
Instruction.
Yeah, you are just the first second inside and learning, and then is so. Then you have a little bit the first time with your corporals and your lieutenants, and they show you a little bit the basic, how you say hello, how you take a rifle, how you're just learning this quickly. And then after that.
And what is their behavior, generally speaking, of the guys that are like there to teach you? Do they yell at you? Do they
not
scream
yell at? No. He's talking like normal, like somebody with authoritarian, but not boss like that. Just look. So you do it. And then he have no problem. Maybe later in the instruction, then he yell at you, but in the first couple of hours not, because you're directly in the civil life and you're coming directly in the military. So in the worst case, too much running and sign for civil service. Yeah.
The Americans do it right away from the bus out.
Yeah.
Like if you've been in internet, you've seen plenty of those videos. How everything. I think the Times, but I think the Wall Street Journal did some good videos about U.S. Army and Marines, how they just completely followed everything, and they scream that's something Europeans
every 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds they scream.
Yeah,
I don't understand it. It just doesn't make a good soldier necessarily.
In the Legion, it's something similar, but not really. In the idea that they're going to speak normally to you. But at the first sight that you did some kind of a fuck up, well, shit.
Yeah.
Shit is going to follow, if you know what I mean.
Like more like loud, or it's more like you said, the violent description.
No, you're going to put in a push-up position, and you're going to stay there for a while. Or you're going to do a couple of push-ups, about 50 or more. You know what I'm saying? Or run around the building because you did a fuck up. But they won't necessarily scream at you. They're like, it's depending from guy to guy. You know, for example, I had like a Romanian. Yeah, but the thing with the screaming, it's not like in the basic instruction. It's during the whole service almost.
Yeah.
But that's how it should be. Like the Americans even do it in later part when they're an active soldier. Like there's a reason Americans have this recruiting crisis. Okay, we have it too, but like the Americans is more like they treat their soldiers so shit they don't want to stay in. Like if you have your like contract, like here in Europe,
and they should be proud. And they should be proud that they are treated like shit.
Yeah,
they ask that.
Yeah,
be proud that you're treated like a dog shit. And you need also to resign the contract. Oh, but I don't want it. Oh, why? Why not? The same thing with the Legion.
But the thing is, but the Legion, but at least the more longer, from what I understand, but you can control, you can correct me. In Legion, the longer you're in, the more you're treated like a person of authority, and actually like more like how to put it, like
More respect,
Americans,
with more respect.
until you're what I think is like even sergeants can still be fucked up by staff sergeant, by higher sergeants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The same thing can happen also in the Legion, but there's one thing called NCO Mafia, Mafia Sozov. Um, Meaning that, yeah, you're right, but to a degree, because then again, it's depending on. Listen, I'm going to give you a quick example that I saw personally, right?
Yeah.
So while I was in the in a combat company in my regiment like a couple of years ago, I had the staff sergeant, a Romanian one,
Hmm.
that was screaming his lungs out of one of the sergeants. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know
Mm.
what they say.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know why he was screaming at the guy, but I just understood it's a fuck up
Yeah.
because he was asking him while I was passing on the hallway, like, how is it possible that you're a fucking sergeant? That you did that? You're incapable. You know?
Yeah.
So it's depending a lot on the guys. You know, it's not only the
Yeah, of course.
teachings,
It's
but
all time the
also the
person that
guy.
I know from my example from my group, because we have two motivated corporals. There was more giving full power, but when you look in the honor
Yeah.
section, there was a yeah, I'm easy. I have one time. You're thinking you're really a corporal. You're liking more the guy of the rover station who have all time joined in his. And he was yeah, what I want. But we have two
By the way,
corporals who was
what
really
was your
motivated.
name? By the way, what was the name? Marcos?
Marcos, yeah, Mark,
Mark. Yeah.
Mark.
Oh, Mark. Mark.
Mm,
All right. A quick question.
Mm.
How it's formed like a company in the German Bundeswehr? How many guys are in one section or like a platoon? How many guys are in one company?
In a company for the training company, I think
In the
maybe
regiment, I mean.
like a training company, 100, about maybe several hundred. I mean, like it's hard to sometimes guess, but that's what I kind of remember because there's several different platoons, and yeah, it's kind of hard. Like because we all like all of the platoons basically slept in a completely different part of the building. Like one, for instance, was in the top, one was the bottom, and then somebody was even in other part of other buildings.
Mhm.
And so it's about that. But I think these kind of stuff is very very similar in most NATO countries to certain
Yeah.
structural standards. Like you can see in again, like if I'm right on Wikipedia, you can just look up approximately how much should a company have, how much should a brigade have, and stuff like that.
Oh, interesting.
Well, yeah, but then those are just like reference points because we all know that a company is never
Yeah.
going to be absolutely total full.
Well, it's
At least
usually
in the Legion, at least in the Legion, it won't be.
Also in Switzerland, it's so you're sleeping in area floor. Also you have one floor is one company. Then the second, because the buildings are so huge that you can sleeping in one floor every company. We was on the third floor. This was all time fucked up because we have all the materials where we have it to bring it up and then down again. And it was all time in the morning. You as normally. Maybe can talking about this now. It was in the place of the military. Every morning is how to say this in English? Antreten, assemblage. Also you need just stay on
All
the
right.
yeah there.
The gathering, the gathering.
Yeah, due to gathering, and we
Yeah,
was
the
there.
morning formation.
Yeah, the morning formation, and in the Swiss Army is that you have all time a morning formation and evening formation minimum. And first,
All right.
yeah, you have all your gear. Also, in the first, so I'm not talking about process, but I think in the first week you receive all your material, then you are ready to go. Then the instruction really start because the first week is more a little bit material and everything. And talking basic, you make just so okay. What is the name of this? What is this rank and something like that? You make a quick test. When everything is fine, you can go on a Saturday morning home. When you make a shit, when you fucked up in this test, you stay some day longer. And the first 3 weeks, you go not out. So you have just a weekend to go out, and then you go back together. And at the time,
And like into in Swiss Army,
Yeah,
like let's say that you have a contract, right?
yeah,
You didn't just do the basic training and like the service.
yeah,
You actually work in the military.
yeah. Then you
Um,
work in the military.
into a regiment, how many guys are in one company or section for infantry, for
The
example?
Switzerland is a little bit more flexible because it depends how many guys you have it. But I think a company can have 120 guys, and they have more four section depends what is. But my unit was a little bit smaller because we were air defense. We are a more specialty unit. This is why we are sometimes a section with just 12 guys, or just in the end because so many go. Because you can still write a contract as that you want go civil, but you make a civil service after that. So you are not
All
longer
right.
in the military. This is why we on the end we was just six guys or couple of guys say I have an accident or something like that, and then he not pass all the tests because it's a really hard stuff air defense because it's really technical, and many guys sometimes have not the head for this in one way. But in the end, when you do that, you are in a good level because then I think after 4 months you're able to have basic infantry training. You know that, and you have able to shoot planes down with a air defense system was for is really complicated to learn in this quick time. Yeah.
Well, to be fair,
Mm.
you don't have like your militia system,
Yeah.
because you guys are militia system. You don't have really like there's not that the pressure's not like in a professional army. There's enough, and if there's no war, there's enough time to like
Yeah.
do your training over a certain month period. That's why for instance, infantry soldier that's
Mhm.
just regular normal infantry guy without even going with even the specialized training within the unit.
Yeah.
It's like 6 months altogether.
Yeah.
Like approximately, like advanced and basic altogether 6 months. Of
Mhm.
course, in times of war, that probably would be crunched down very much so. But there's just not there's not this pressure behind it.
Yeah.
There's just things can go slowly. You can go a little bit. Like the thing is, things are not pressured like with you guys.
Yeah.
Like these guys will be here for, depending on their contract, can be from 6 months all the way to
Yeah,
shit.
the
Our
Swiss
longest
Army is
contract
so
can
you have every hour is planned. Everybody knows because he make a couple of instruction before you, and he know every hour. Tack, tack, tack. You learn now this. You learn now this. You learn now this. Then you make this test. Then you learn this. You learn this, and you're tested constantly. And you need to have a level. And this is why the Swiss, also from my point of view, from the Swiss air defense, we're learning really quick, really much because we need it. And what you know it is good, what you not know it is fucked up because you won't go in the end of the day, you won't go in the weekend home, and this is your main motivation. And yeah,
Mm.
the freedom
Getting
is
your
the motivation all the time. You fight all time in the military for freedom. Yeah,
That's why I believe that maybe we should reinstall in the whole NATO countries at least, in all
yeah,
European Union countries still the military service. Because look at these younger generations, they don't appreciate nothing of what they have, and above
Yeah, I
all,
agree.
yeah,
they're not aware of how free they are.
yeah. This is the point.
They don't
In, in,
appreciate it.
in Germany, there's a huge debate currently about that. I think, and like a lot of European countries have currently. I know France has that debate. I think I heard Romania has debate. Czech Republic, Poland has
Yeah, but yeah,
debate.
everybody
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, it's just like with us, there's so many politicians like, yeah, the end of the conscription 2011 was a mistake and stuff like that. And it was like yeah, like Germany was one of the last countries who ended their military service, besides the afterwaves who were reintroducing, like the Swedes, the Baltics, uh yeah, the new countries are all reintroducing it again.
In
But
Greece,
yeah,
they still
Greece,
have it in Greece though.
yeah,
hmm,
Greece, Turkey, Moldova, Ukraine before 2014 was still was, I think 2013 they briefly deactivated when the 2014 happened. They just reactivated again.
Oh,
yeah.
Uh,
Was
mm.
Finland is very strong with their military, with their draft. They never ended it. They always continued it.
Well, they are the neighbors with Russia, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
yeah. It's dangerous.
yeah, understandable. And then there's countries who never had draft at the first place, like Ireland. Like they always like since the independence they have a small little army.
Yeah.
Like yeah, they know if they invaded the British can just march in. Yeah, so they
Um,
kind of live
What
with
is
the.
what is
Yep.
one thing? What is one thing that you will have liked to know already since the mm, basic training, like some information that maybe it will have been better if you learn that in the basic instruction, not later on or something. Do you have something like that?
What do you mean? Like, what you mean? The lections, the lectures, what people can
Lections,
learn out of it?
tactics, and like yeah, that you like
Oh,
will have.
tactics. I think it's good for people to learn how to do their like a good example, do their beds, be punctual, uh, being orderly to a certain extent, even more orderly. Like as example, like have you ever noticed that all these stereotypes about German kind of feel like a military unit? If you think
Yeah.
about it, it's because like Prussia was one of the oldest, one of like kind of perfected it, and also like Prussian ideas and militarism and also military service kind of formed the German identity, because
yeah.
over generations people also for almost 100 or 200 years just did military service. They were always like drafted. People from completely different regions have nothing together and kind of gotten out of it as brothers, and it kind of made an identity to a certain extent, and it also later made a German identity out of it. And a lot of countries did
That's
it, like
not
France also.
like you no like I miss I'm no like how to put the question in a better way. Uh, do you feel that was something missing in the basic instruction in the boot camp?
Oh,
Yeah, that's mainly
missing,
the question.
missing. Like usually with us, like either if it's missing, it's usually later put into the advanced training. Like example, like
Mm.
we like they used to have the like machine gun training in basic. Now they just put it into advanced stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like certain
Oh, I
training
understand.
like pistol, either you put it in basic or boom you want to put it into advanced. So like the tactics is not so well built out, because usually the tactics is for like you're supposed to learn that in advanced training, like the like ambushing, assaulting, and stuff like it. Then of course then even more stuff that come with the time that you're in, like urban warfare and
How
stuff like
long
that.
how long
Yeah.
is the advanced training in the Bundeswehr?
Another 3 months.
3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand. In the French army, the advanced training is, as I said before, in the regiment, and it's depending actually on which regiment you are, which specialty do you have. Because for me, as a combat engineer, I had 2 months. From what I understood back in the day, like years before, it was maybe
Hey,
three. But I have no info about that. No, that's
that's
not
kind of
something
fun.
official. For the rep guys, for the paratroopers, it's about a month. For the guys in the
Really?
cavalry, again, it's about a month. And for the infantry, another 2 months.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Wait a minute. Are paratroopers not infantry?
No, but it's like there's special gear and whatnot, right? For the
Yeah.
Ah,
paratroopers
so
Yeah.
they
to
can
learn it, to
air.
know it, to have it.
Yeah.
That's again another training. Like airborne school is again another different school from basic. Like there's
No, but
specifically
you need to
the.
understand. No, but you need to understand something is that in the boot camp, you have only your rifle. You don't have a machine gun. You
Yeah.
don't have a
The
grenade
eight
launcher,
first
and
eight
you learn
week.
that in the advanced
Yeah,
training.
the Switzerland
Oh
is the
yeah,
first state week where you have actual, as normally, by me it's a little bit special because it was in the Air Force, in the Air Defense, but normally in Switzerland, it's the first 8 weeks. You have 1 week this instruction, 1 week you do infantry training, march training, and then military basic training for rifles and something like that, but you have not the machine gun. Then come the advanced training, this is after week 8, and in the Swiss, my case was 30 weeks because we on the side learning the air defense system in the same time. This is why every hour was really
Mm.
cramped full to learn everything because we have learned really much stuff in this short time. Yeah.
I think us it was also like that because of the conscription was usually 2 years in
Mm.
the old times. Unless you are the guy, a kind of guy who decided to make a longer contract, it just or like it was also pushed back. Like, but now that conscription basically ended, they just elongated everything. So they just took out the machine gun section, put it in later and stuff like that into advanced. And this is just advanced for infantry. Infantry would be 3 months. If you're like, I don't know, like an engineer or something like that, or like or sorry, not engineer, but certain other job, it could be way longer than that, of course.
Okay, of course, because you need learning all techniques and something like that. It's not so simple.
Yeah. But I'm just
Also,
going
in
to
the,
go for a regular grunt infantryman
Yeah.
or like machine, like or like
our,
combat engineer and stuff like that. Basic.
right, because check this out. Like in the French army, for the infantry, they have what? They have the Minimi, the saw. You maybe you know it
Yeah.
better as saw. They have that. They
Yeah.
have the Mag 58 AK M240 Bravo. They
Mm.
have the good old 50. They had some grenade launchers
Hmm.
and what they have Glock and stuff like that. So all those weapons you're going to learn, practice, and shoot during that advanced training. Specifically, how to use them in which situation, train with them,
Yeah.
doing marching with them, and stuff like that. So that's why it's quite long, the infantry training. For the rep guys, for the paratroopers, I don't know why it's not just a month, because from
Hmm.
what I understood, they just focus on the weapons and whatnot.
Yeah.
You could also just think you think just it also possibility. I'm just not saying it is that way. That you would you think for a month is just the jump school, and then they have the infantry part.
No, 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 no. You speak about the German army?
No, I mean for yours. I think could that be a possibility?
The
Because
the
for
para
us,
school, the para school, the para school, the jumping school. It's 1 week, and it's not together with the advanced training.
okay.
It's a
Okay.
separate training, so you want so like that.
Yeah. With us, it also was separate training, separate school for us. Like, and there's of course different things. So you're a combat engineer, but you guys are mountain. How? So are you guys mountain guys or infantrymen or like
Okay,
because you're in the
sorry
mountain? We
guys,
also have
that's
Jack
mountain.
of all trades.
erupted, but it's better when we maybe talk about the question what we have it. What do you want change it in the basic
sorry.
training? This is because we go a little bit too far and we're losing a little bit the line where we
The track.
yeah track yeah.
Then
Oh,
yeah.
So everybody say
Mark,
now
go
what
on.
do you want have extra in the basic training?
Yeah, Mark, go on. You're first.
Yeah, Mark.
Oh, sorry,
Mark.
me. If we go back to basic to conscription system, then what I would like because okay, you're again more under time pressure even for 2 years.
Mhm.
It's probably smart to reintroduce pistol and machine gun within basic training, even more so that the soldiers already are familiar with that. Besides that, like everything can go like I don't know. It's just like overall, I think yeah, that's something you could read. Maybe more physical. It could be a little bit. It could be more intense. But overall, it is a pretty good system. It changes and adapts overall, of course, over time.
Okay.
But overall, I think yeah, more stuff like machine guns because
Mhm.
of time crunch required for a conscript army.
Okay.
But that's not what we currently have.
As in the Swiss Army, you have
Yeah.
no machine guns, but for the air defense, you not need it really because you need just your rifle to protection, maybe your guard or something like that. And I see for maybe for the Swiss Army is what I think is good. Maybe make trenches because we in my time we make not trenches, but this is just because it's a modern environment because there was 100 times in this time. And I think maybe today FPV training because I think many military units need this today. And just to make for the guard when you have just a normal quadcopter where you can control your area, it's maybe just a basic something where I think every soldier need this training on basic. Yeah.
Well, with us, trenches were not really possible because some regions, ground, like Eastern Ukraine is the most flattest land you can have, as an example.
Yeah.
Like the region where I did my basic training was up in the mountains, and it's basically the only way to make a trench there. You need heavy machinery,
Okay.
so it's not possible to do a trench. And I think, yeah, I agree with the drone part. Yeah, yeah, or that, or at least integrate it into all advanced training, like
Yeah.
one or both. Yeah.
I think, look, in the Swiss Army, you have specialty training inside the basic training. So I'm, an example, ABC Spür, as I was trained to find the nuclear stuff who are trained somewhere. Give people who are specialty cookers or something like that, or one is specialty medics, something. They have just a little bit of better training to fix stuff. That you have a little bit better know-how in one section. But in the anyway, everybody have a little extra training when you want for something specialty, but it's just a side quest when you want. Yeah. And for you, what you think for?
I'm still thinking about that. I will. I do not know if I will really change something. Maybe focusing to practice a little bit more. Yeah, practice more of
more
the
with the
things that we
rifle.
learned.
I think this is a bit maybe the main difference in the Swiss Army, because you have all time the rifle with you.
More manipulation. Use the rifle much more.
Yeah.
Doing something. Even in the regiment.
Yeah.
Because in the regiment there's like we just do sports in the morning, some courses, but like after that we don't really do a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and the same problem is in the regiment, but that's another story.
Yeah.
For the basic instruction, I think also that they should implement kind of a system that.
Yeah. I think the Swiss Army
will obligate the higher ups that are doing the instruction for a section of guys that in the regiment they're obligated to give them like French courses every day, and not like the basic core French course where like a conjugation and shit. No, putting the guys watch a movie and a documentary, for example, with subtitles. I don't know, take a foreigner guide for the instruction, but that advanced pretty quick in terms of French.
Yeah.
And put the guy to help his comrades, you know, to try to make them better to understand. Because from my point of view, as a foreigner, I think I can explain the French language for another foreigner better than a Frenchman.
Yeah, of course.
Because I see the difference. I see how you can play with the word and why it's this, why it's like that, right?
Yeah, because you have
I can simplify.
Yeah.
I can simplify it a little bit more for the guy and whatnot.
Yeah.
Another changing. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because the advanced training is in the regiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the basic training is pretty okay. It's pretty much okay. But again, just practicing a little bit more with the rifle and doing like more tactical things, right?
Yeah. So you more have an understanding from the environment, yeah. Because this is something where I think the Swiss Army makes very good, because you have all time the rifle with you. The corporals can say, okay, now we have half hour, nothing to do. We go down and we just manipulate it. So you make just, okay, what you make when you have a problem, a jam problem, and something like that. You shoot, then you make just weapon control or something like that. Just you manipulate. So everything what you did when you have a problem with the rifle, you make this in the entire day we need it just like a reflex. As I know, because the SIG 550 make no jam normally. I have just in all my career one jam, and it was just the ammo just block it. Also not the ammo, but yeah, you know what I mean. Block it.
And
I know just the reaction, tack, boom. I just charge new, and the rifle works again fine. This was the only.
The thing with the G36, what my experience, it's the X-Immune ammunition that kind of clogs that fucking thing up so much. Like not the actual rifle ammunition, but the practice ammunition just completely clogs the whole thing up. I don't know. There I usually had my most blockages.
Yeah, blockages. Yeah.
And it makes the weapon extremely fucking dirty.
Yeah.
Well, you had experience with both now, right? With the FMAS and with the G36. We are currently introducing it in the army, and tell us how it is for you as a rifle.
G36 or
This is
HK 400?
sorry, the HK 416. Like we're introducing, are also putting it as our main rifle because okay, the
Finally, it
German,
was
it's
about
Germany.
time to do it.
Yeah.
Before before I answer to your question,
Mhm.
I just want to add something. I think that at least for the Legion, one thing that they could add on the name it, yeah, basic instruction, it would be that if you have one whole week in the regiment, 5 days or like a whole weekend in the
Mhm.
regiment, then how about teaching the guys the basics, the minimal basic stuff about urban combat, urban warfare?
Yeah.
Uh,
Because nowadays we have not like cities or villages, we have fucking metropoles
Yeah.
of cities,
yeah.
and the cities are just continue to expand. That's a thing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So how
Well,
about teaching the guys like the basic minimum idea right from the
I
bat?
think this is today
And when
need
they
be
go in the
a
regiment, they can practice.
yeah. I think today need to be a process of all the time because I think urban combat you never learn out. You need just practice, 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 practice. I think one times in the week that you just remember and maybe evaluate it in a good way. That's you coming better and better.
Well,
No.
but to be honest, with urban combat, like why if militaries usually have resistance from a building,
Mhm.
like a good example as in Israel, you just blow up the whole building.
Yeah, it's one way to do it.
Yeah, like, why lose 60% of your freaking squad? No, I'm just gonna blow up the whole building of the JDAM if I have the possibility.
Yeah, but you kill
So-
And
civilians.
rebuild it after the war.
Yeah, yeah. It's simple. Maybe it's not so expensive because the buildings anyway are fucked up.
Yeah.
Now now to answer your question, Mark, it's well, you know what's the thing? The HK and the FAMAS are two different platforms.
Yeah.
Because one is bullpup, one is normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's going to sound a little bit maybe flawed or biased what I'm going to say,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah,
keep that in
no
mind. But I do believe that the HK of the French army is not that good. I mean,
Mm.
and it's not really me that's saying that. It's also some of the guys from the armory.
Yeah.
Because what's the thing? For example, for the German HK that we have for our commandos in my
Yeah.
regiment, at the end of the rifle on the buttstock,
Hmm.
they don't have that small loophole where you're going to attach the belt for you when you're doing the parade.
Yeah.
The French
Mm.
put exactly that thing, that loophole, just to put the belt so you can do the parade with.
Yeah, we're not big in parades here.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
is,
and from what I understood, I'm not really sure if it's true or not, but the German HK 416 is not really built to have a bayonet. Just the French asked for a bayonet because looks good on parade.
okay.
But
Yeah.
leaving these small things aside,
The German
as
army doesn't have
platforms-
beret. Zero.
Hmm.
doesn't have the bayonet.
No, it doesn't have a
Bayonet.
bayonet.
Bayonet,
No,
yeah.
it doesn't have a bayonet at all.
As in the Swiss Army, we have a
We have-
bayonet. It was standard equipment. But this was
We don't have
Yeah,
it
well,
since
the French-
70 years. Even the G3
Listen.
didn't have a bayonet.
yeah.
Listen,
so
we
I
have
talked
the
maybe for
bayonet for the
because in the Swiss Army
F416.
we have the
we have-
bayonet because for my side I not anymore learn this in the basic training, but the older guys they learn that in the military service. Yeah. Hello,
I see, but
I'm
do you hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah, we
Sorry,
hear you.
I was just a little bit on the microphone this way. I lost the voice. Yeah. Okay.
But back to your answer, Mark. Back to your question. Fuck.
Yeah.
You compare to different platforms, but overall, yeah, I like the HK because it kind of feels it's more natural to bring your hand a little bit back so you can change the mag than to reach all the way behind your other hand to change the mag of the FAMAS, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. That's one small thing, but for me it counts. Also, an extremely very important thing that there is the urban warfare that we spoke before. You cannot really use the FAMAS into an urban environment because guess what? You
Really?
have to change the shoulders. No, you have to change the shoulders because
Mm,
Yeah,
if you're like left-handed like me and the wall is on your right side, it's going to be easier to take the corner, right? But if the wall is on my left side, I have to make a larger move and expose myself even more to
yeah.
shoot.
mm,
And if you so for therefore you're going to change the shoulders, right? You're going to change the weapon
mhm.
on the second shoulder. But if you do that with the FAMAS, all the brass is going to hit you right in the neck, and it's going to burn, it's going to hurt, and whatnot. FAMAS
Yeah.
also, unfortunately, it's a very old platform because you cannot really attach something to it,
Yeah, it was a
like
Cold War rifle when you
uh,
want. It was built in the Cold War.
I
exactly.
remember. I remember some of the videos. There's some pictures out there of a Hamas that is like has so many attachments on it. It looked so crazy. Like there's these night visions that are gigantic and some other things. You know what I mean? Like looking around the
Yeah,
corner
Yeah, yeah,
things,
yeah, yeah.
and it just yeah.
And the
I
small
never
rifle
understood.
in your in the
Yeah,
other.
it just it just looks so fun. It's so
But
funny.
the Swiss Army
You guys have an
give a
EOTech,
photo of
right?
this gives to give too because the Swiss Army test this too was new the system, and they tested from the French Army, but then they never to use this in the service in the end. But it was tested.
Y-
right.
you guys have an EOTech on it, right?
That's the infantry importance. The combat engineer have an aim point. Who decided that we have to have an aim point and not an EOTech? I don't know. I do not know.
Uh,
Some captain or something like that.
Someone can't that believe that he's a genius in combat and equipment, yet he was inside of an office most of his career.
Yeah.
uh, there's also a very one thing I've kind of looked up a little bit into French doctrine. French military doctrine is highly centralized. Like, okay, you guys are not like the Russians. You guys have the positive compared to the Russians. You guys are highly trained, but your military structures is very centralized. The Legion getting a little bit more free lay than the rest of the French army, but overall, you guys are highly centralized, and almost like or you're like German and Swiss orders were very how to put it. Uh, it's the art of making orders simplified for the normal person and just like go like basically have the order like go in that building and you just go in a building. You supposed to know how to do that. For what I heard and what I can tell, they're very specialized. They're very you got to do this. It's more command tactics than it is mission type tactics. Do you know what I mean?
No, not really. I didn't catch on that.
No.
Because
What are you trying to explain with
I
that?
can quick maybe because look the Germans say take this house, okay? But how you take this house is your
Right?
decision. But he say, look, the French army have more say, no, you move there, then you move there, then you move there, and then we move everybody inside. The lieutenant give
Yeah,
every
yeah.
detail order, and the German army have more this mission tactic. We have this mission, we have finished this mission, but how you do this mission, nobody cares.
Now the
Yeah.
thing with the French army is that, um, well, it kind of makes sense why they do it, how they do it, because you want to coordinate everybody, right? So a lieutenant or the captain is going to say like, yeah, two, three groups on this side, two groups on the other side, one group behind, and then you attack together.
Yeah,
But that doesn't really work into a urban environment per se, right?
yeah, of course.
So yeah, I don't even know if it's the good example, but can you continue
Yeah,
with
it's
the explanation, Mark?
Yeah, of course. Also, it just
yeah for us.
Mark,
yeah, Mark, yeah.
No, for us is very much the officer as an example says that like points as an example goes that region, concentrate your fire as an example, and the soldiers then self decide very much to where point of fire and very much independently try to take that specific spot. Like that's how mission type tactics. It's very like decentralized, very from the bottom. The soldier needs to think constantly. Needs to be like very, how to put it, very much a self-thinking man, if you will. It's a less authoritarian. It's more like giving the soldier leeway to do his job properly.
Yeah, but that's bad for the French army because then how the officers are going to be show-offs of how much power they have and how much of a commanders they are.
Yeah, this
Well,
is the different the
know,
Because it's
mentality, I
more,
think, in the
you
basic.
see,
Yeah, because it is
because
in
a soldier that's free is no good because,
yeah
oh, mais je suis le lieutenant. No, I'm the fucking lieutenant. I have to think.
yeah
Even in the Legion, they told us, stop thinking, stop using your brain. You're not paid for thinking.
yeah. In the Swiss
So any
armies is so
creativity
in
and
the Swiss
ideas
army
are taken away from you.
yeah in the Swiss armies is so you know maybe now you are under him, but maybe in the civil life you are his boss. And this is why
Yeah,
sometimes so yeah, I know this is your job, a respect for the job. This because we Switzerland have this thinking function before rank. Also when you have the function
yeah.
for the air defense, it cannot coming a lieutenant of the infantry and say me how I need to do my job. No, I'm from the air defense. This is my job. I know what to do. Then it's automatically under my rank. So we have never a discussion about what is your competence and not. And we have never this lieutenant is everything. No, you're a lieutenant, clear, we respect that. And when we have the same function and you're a lieutenant, I respect him immediately because everybody knows what is the job and he have more experience with the weapon system normally.
Also,
that, yes.
also with us is very much a soldier gets shot. For instance, your squad leader gets shot and killed, and there's nobody to replace him. Very, very simple. What we do, what we do is very simple. We're all trained several levels higher to all be replacing everybody, somebody else. So basically, we're always trained for leadership from the bottom to top through
Yeah,
multiple
just like
levels
just as they
up.
say in the Legion, first class, a soldier first class with some years of service behind, he is supposed to change the corporal in case the corporal one of the corporals is dying or he's already dead or disappeared or
Yeah,
whatnot. And the corporal it must be trained and prepared in such a way that he's able to replace the sergeant if they have to.
Yeah,
even the lieutenant with us or commander, the company commander, doesn't matter which rank it is. Like all are trained to do several ranks above him, capable to replace him.
Normally, yeah, but now with the standards dropping in the Legion, the situation is quite funny for us.
okay. It was before a bit more efficient. You think now you lose a little bit efficient. What have make the
Yeah,
legion strong?
exactly.
No,
After the COVID is going to be still a couple of more years to recover
of this
after that,
shit.
but it's
Yeah,
not going to be an easy.
I think you
But it's not
say
going to be an easy recovery.
you say right now we are in crisis in the legion a little bit with all the
The whole
change,
French army,
all the French army. Yeah,
Uh,
but mainly the Legion.
recruit-
I personally saw it mainly from the
Mm.
Legion because when the standards are dropping, and in the Legion there are multiple nationalities from the fucked up third world countries that come to make themselves alive.
yeah,
They don't really come in the Legion to be soldiers. They just come from passports, for money, for an easy
yeah. Of
life,
course, this is
for
the
a
main
gate to
motivation. Yeah.
Europe and whatnot. Yeah, exactly. AK the Indians, AK the Nepalis, and other nations like that.
Mm-hmm.
they're not
And they
adventurers.
don't
The
really give a
guys,
no, they're not like the guys back in the day. That's the reputation that the Legion still has it, but it's not really like that nowadays.
Yeah,
You have just multiple types of parasites for the most part, and for the most part, the guys that are good, that are great, and that they can do something and be the good old classy adventurer.
yeah,
They feel the need to leave. They feel the need to leave because nobody's actually pushing you nowadays to be the best soldier around. Just
yeah. Just do your
and
job and shut up.
and you see, exactly.
Yeah,
But also, one thing that was kept in place is the flex of the rank.
yeah,
What is the flex of the rank? It's like, hey, I'm a corporal. Get yourself to the position. Who the fuck you think you are? I am God here.
yeah.
God complex people, right from the bat.
Like in Star Wars Episode 1,
That's
where you
it.
say, "Give all time a bigger fish."
yeah, well, like yeah, it's to us. It's kind of God complex is generally speaking, you try to minimize it. Like we very much try to not like this is like not
Not to be a show
like
off.
not being so off. Like as an example, like that's why we have good NCOs. That like the NCO, if for instance there's an asshole lieutenant, he will pretty much like if he's a bad lieutenant, he pretty much will go to the company commander, and then this guy will be either removed or will be severely punished and stuff like that under officer level, of course, and stuff like that. And yeah, like these kind of stuff are kind of important for, and also you're also evaluated, so you also want to rank up because our system is we have something called professional soldier. So essentially, you have these the enlistments. You have these different contracts you have, but for officers, you essentially or also NCOs. If you want to become the rest of your life, that means to 65 or to your 50s, depending on what you do, your mid 50s. That you want to have your rest of your life, you need a certain evaluation. You need to be very good at your job. And if you want that, you need to be good. You need to be very good at your job.
But generally speaking, that's the German mentality, right? That is not
Yeah.
really the military system; it's the German mentality.
But the
In the French
military
army,
is
generally
most.
speaking,
Yeah, the military is most
listen,
the
in the French
culture.
army, you have. Yeah, that's one thing because if we look at the Swiss people, we see the system of militia, right?
Yeah,
If you look at the Germans, we have what Mark said, right? We have their mentality and their way of work.
yeah,
In French military, you have the good old classy nobility shit that it's still in place.
yeah,
It's not like really nobility per se, but the
It's
mentality and the way of seeing things and the things are done are like that.
yeah,
like like you in the Germans, pretty much you need to do your best if you want to become a professional soldier. Get your that means become like that means being able to retire in that job. You need to do the best that you can to get there, and that means you need evaluations. That means you need this and this training. You need this and this mile points, and you need to be good at it.
yeah,
You need to do your best at it. You need to be motivated. You need to try to
Right.
do your best. And if you don't get like, and if you are an asshole or stuff like that, your thing's gonna get tanked. And yeah, then the 12-year mark comes up, and hey, I would like, yeah, you're just gonna get kicked out. So that's the pressure. It's not like it's not. Of course, it's a certain of what it is. It's 12 years. It's a lot of time to some guys just want 12 years. Fine, fair enough. But
yeah,
then there's the people who would like to have this as their like to retire in it, do the rest of their lives. And those then
Exactly, because they like it.
yeah, because it's their fun. It's fun. It's a job. It's something they're the soldier by heart.
They enjoy it. They enjoy it.
yeah.
They feel good with their job. Not like unlike most of the people that are not really happy with their workplace.
Yeah, when you do good job, then
But it's
you
very
come up.
interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, Elias, can we go also forward for the next questions?
Yeah, of course, of course. We had just this interesting talk about different mentalities. I think it's a good understanding for the audience to understand the context versus the mentality of different armies. Yeah, but it was a really interesting talk.
About the mentality, just one thing
Yeah.
I want to say before we move forward. It's interesting how we can see the mentality of a nation or the people just from the military.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the military is all time
Because
myriad about the military is just a myriad about the mentality of the country.
very, very
Of course there's bad things. Of course there's assholes who just want to get
Yeah, you have
get their
everywhere
contract
assholes.
done for 12 years.
like everywhere.
Of course you find them, but you can find but overall the system is designed to try to foster excellence.
Yeah.
And yeah, what's the next question? by the way?
Okay, what you learn in the basic training? We talk a little bit about this because we all time move it too quick forward. I try all time go back, but we are. But
We
what?
already are 2 hours in it, so
Yeah, of course. So we so just talk a little bit general about what you learn in the basic training, military. What I think, Mark, you begin, or when you want, I begin to see with the structure of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I start. Look,
You mean?
in the
Oh, yeah, Bill.
Swiss Army, we have a really this mentality. Okay, you receive your rifle, you learn your rifle in the first week. You know every pieces, the main pieces, how your rifle is the name. This is the Kolben, this is the barrel, this is the visor, something like that. So you know, and you learn the grades. And this is a bit so the first week where you, when I right, remember what you learn. Then you learn how you clean your shoes, how you holding properly your room, just the shitty stuff every military needs to learn.
Yeah.
But in the same time, we are just go every evening 2 hours manipulated. Also we are just manipulated how you handle the rifle in the same evening. So you're learning quickly how handle the rifle because the Swiss Army have the mentality go in the second week, first time shooting, hot with real bullets. You're learning the before the week for the four weapon security rules and something like that. And then you 1 week later you have just a rifle and you go first time shooting. Maybe I think 50 or 20 rounds, but it's their first time shooting stand up because sometimes guys have make the Jungschützenkurs, so 300 meters range. You're flat, and this is why there cannot many happen. But in the standing range, there can many happen because the instructions say something. You have a loaded rifle, and you're looking behind because the instructions say something, and the barrel looking maybe all in the line of the guys. And this is maybe dangerous. And this is why the Swiss Army you won't quick learning shooting because in the first of weeks you have this you're afraid about this because when you have too much this rifle you lose the afraid about the rifle. This is why you want directly learning and shooting. And this was all time the basic. So shooting every week minimum 1 times. And plus then we have ABC training, medical care, basic training. So how you make Israeli bandage and how you make tourniquet, this basics. As I just talked now for the 8 weeks, and yeah, then you have a specialty. Maybe for my side was more deeper in the ABC stuff. Under guys learning cooking for the company, and this is a bit so the way how it goes. Yeah, and sometimes people learning specialty driving, maybe a vehicle with a truck with something behind or something like that. Give many specialty trainings, and they already give you a line in this way. Yeah. But you're learning many stuff in the short time.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because our basic training is supposed to be universally, at least on paper, the same. Some, of course, are more usually trainers dependent. So yeah, it's pretty much we learn shooting. I think shooting we learn in the start of the end of the first month, pretty much, and then we pretty much go an entire week just shooting and stuff like that because we don't have like pressure and of course the rifle we live with it a little bit earlier to a certain extent, and of course we then at the end of the day we give back the rifle. That's of course different if you're in a regular unit. Then you're like on a normal exercise you just have entirely just your rifle. Just throughout just. But that in basic training you do give it back to a certain because trust is to a certain extent developed over time. To a certain extent. So yeah, you do give it back, but overall, yeah, it's a lot of shooting especially in the second I think it was the first month or second month, something like that. You learn medical, you learn a lot of rifling, NATO alphabet. You learn you learn physical training. You do a lot of physical. You do marching stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff you do. So yeah, and then we also have in Oslo the first couple marches, first going over stuff like going over the what's called Hindernisbahn obstacle course.
Okay.
And stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty much. Yeah, and it's supposed to be universally same cooks from cook to infantryman, and like you're supposed to learn your job, especially like in the advanced training, not in the basic training.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's a little bit because the Swiss Army have many times. That's why we need learning immediately and quick and looking how optimize every part of the instruction so everybody have the good level when he is finished with the instruction because you have just. Well, my time was 21 weeks, and you have just in this 21 weeks you can form the guy. After that, they make just this repetition course to a little bit refresh everything what you learn.
Yeah.
But you have just 21 weeks, and this is why we need to go really fast to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like with us, we have. If you're 13 years in, we have enough time.
Yeah, this is the point. 21 and 30 years is something different.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, and then the thing is, and also there's a little bit. If you have, for instance, a very short contract, it's often very seen. Why should we put the energy into you? That's something we could maybe critique. Like, yeah, if it's, for instance, a shorter contract, depending on also what you do. Like 13 years, like NCOs get usually longer contracts if you go for like already. Now, this is also a very important thing: is you can apply for what you want to be before going to basic, so you can apply for becoming an NCO already before. That means, but you still need to go. That means you're predestined prior already. But not everybody does it that way. Like the paratroopers prefer just people who are already normal enlisted. And in my time, they had 13 new contracts. They kind of changing that a little bit lately in the last couple of years. They that make shorter contracts and stuff like 4 years and stuff like that. So depends on where you go, how you do it. The
and what for time,
contracts,
because the structure all time change a little bit.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also what time exactly. So it's currently in an evolving stage because Germany was kind of thrown into a professional army
Yeah.
from being a draft army. Germany always expected to get most of their soldiers from their draft. So it's kind of also we have a recruitment crisis because we don't really know how to recruit people. We just had a lot. Oh, you're just drafted. Oh, I like it. I'm gonna do a contract for 13 years. Like that's
Yeah.
pretty much how we recruited most of the soldiers for centuries, even actually. And it's just now we just have several recruiting crises and also recruiting scandals like with Ursula von der Leyen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how was in the for French Legion?
Well, first off, we are extremely focused on the KP Blanc,
Yeah.
right? So what happens is that you go to the farm where most of the instruction is going to take part. Well, the most important things. But right from the bat, like you learn how to march in line, following orders. Like when somebody says like turn to the left, turn to the right, information and
Yeah.
whatnot, and basic stuff like that in terms of like presentation and so it begins with that. We also have the weapons. We take our weapons with us in the farm.
Yeah.
We put them, of course, in the armory because they won't trust farmers to run away with a weapon, right?
Yeah, of course.
So we are mainly focused on that. Each week during the farm period, which is 4 weeks, we're going to have a march. And all the marches are going to culminate with the Kitty Blanc march, that is generally speaking 50 kilometers. So
Yeah.
2 day marching constantly, 25. But that's depending also on the section. Like some motivated lieutenants are going to be like, oh, we'll do 70 kilometers
Yeah.
or something like that, or 60, and like depending. But generally speaking, it's 50 kilometers
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah.
The shooting comes a bit after that. So during the farm, we are going to manipulate a lot. I like charging, emergency, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you are lucky, you can have you can shoot with white bullets, blank bullets, right?
Yeah.
To see how the weapon will actually behave in a safer way than with just normal bullets, right?
Yeah.
And personally, I did that. I heard like multiple guys from other companies of instruction, they did the same. I do not think it's a standard thing, but that's depending. So after, so the real shooting starts after that. We go to a camp for
Yeah.
about a week. It's 7 days. We stay in that camp, and almost single every day you will shoot.
Yeah.
You will shoot. We shoot only with a rifle. That's one thing. We shoot only with a rifle. We shoot like in different position at different distances. At the time, I was still using the HK because I was like the guys that got the instruction for both HK and the FAMAS at the same time.
Yeah.
For the most part, my farm was with the FAMAS, and the shooting also was with the FAMAS.
Okay. Yeah.
And we did the bipod, we did the shooting with the backpack. You take your bag and you sport your rifle on it,
Mm-hmm.
and different things. We did some night shooting, and during the day, like after the shooting, it's also the cleaning, of course.
Yeah.
We do the cleaning, some sports, and mainly it's that we are focused like to shoot with a rifle, generally speaking.
Okay.
The shooting with the normal weapons will happen only when you go to the regiment.
Yeah.
That's another story.
Okay. Oh, okay. As a little bit in the Swiss Army, we have 1 week was we have all-time normal shooting, so 25-meter range or 300, depends, because we have just a shooting stand just 2 kilometers away from the caserne, and we're walking there. And we have one time in a week, 1 week, we go somewhere, and there we are just shooting. I think on this week, my section, we are shooting 30,000 bullets in all the section, but it was shooting every day to sleeping, and this was the high intensity shooting in my life. How have you also a similar week, something like that?
No, no. During the basic instruction, no.
Okay.
And in the regiment, it's also the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a shooting camp that's long enough to practice a lot.
Okay.
We do have a short one. It's 50 meters, but seeing the French bureaucracy, people prefer not to do nothing
Yeah.
because you have to do all the paperwork and speak with all the responsibles to take the munition out of the depot that's in our regiment, and then prepare everything, bond the command and whatnot to go after that at shooting.
Okay.
So plus the French mentality is focused, unfortunately, at least in the Legion, is still focused on like image shit, right? So for the things to be clean, to look good, to be like this, to be like that. Shooting is like after, it's just like a second thought,
Okay. As
which is
we,
kind of disappointing for
yeah.
me. It's extremely disappointing for me.
I think of for station 2 in the same time.
Say again?
I would say
First stage as a really shit sometimes to have this
Yeah.
complex.
so. Of us, shooting is we have one very intensive week of shooting,
Okay.
night shooting and day shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I remember right, 1 or 2 weeks, I think, or something like that, and it was very much different variation of shootings. There's like because we have dual optic shooting, so it's more complicated. It's just not iron sight shooting. So
Yeah.
we have shooting with upper, shooting with lower, long distance shooting. We have closer shooting. It's yeah, we have different meters of different like distances of shooting and stuff like that.
Okay.
And yeah, and so what we do is we are handed out ammunition. We essentially we all give our what's called magazines. Essentially, we all get no what's magazines. Yeah, we
Your
all
mags.
no, we all
Mags.
fill up our magazine. We all give our magazines. Then the magazines are filled up. Then they're giving back, and then before the range, we're handed the mag like then before like so then we all are
How
handed a
many did
certain
they
amount.
give you?
And then we have certain
How many?
sections. We just here's the ammunition. So the full loaded magazine and thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
but
shoot
how
a lot.
many? How many bags would you have?
Bags. We had a lot of like the ammunition was quite a lot. It's not just a handful. It's just mags. We just like it. I think 3 mags, and that's just no 4. We get 4 mags, complete full shooting.
All right, that's something. That's
Uh,
something.
Yeah.
so and that's just for one day.
Okay.
So and then we also have night shooting. We do the same all again with night shooting with lights up and stuff like that. But we don't have, but at least back then we didn't have NVGs.
Yeah.
Like it probably would have been in the later stages. We've been integrated, but not in basic. So with nighttime shooting, how it is, and yeah, a lot of that was a good experience. Love shooting. I'm probably not
Everybody
as
loves
intense as the
shooting.
Yeah.
Swiss, but I think better probably than the French Foreign Legion.
Yeah, but everybody loves shooting. Only
Yeah.
the French
Yeah,
officers aren't really into it. They are into sipping tea and telling stories that never happened.
Ah, yeah. You're shooting a rifle from
Yeah.
30,000 kilometers.
the, that's all. There's also the thing is There's a very good relationship between soldiers, like soldiers and officers. Like they're not that separated. You can have a normal conversation with a lieutenant, with an officer after, like for instance, when drinking time is, you can just have a like normal conversation with them. Like they're just people. Like there's just, yeah, like it's not that strict. Of course, there's a certain respect level, but it's not like, oh, it's not like dehuman. Like they're not like gods. They're just like, yeah, you're my boss, and I need a certain distance of
Uh,
my boss, but I can go drink with you. Like,
Dude, listen, talking about that like a normal conversation, you could have that with some officers, but not with all of them. Most of the times, when you will be able to have such conversations with a lieutenant, at least, or even the captain, it's during something when there's like a celebration in the company. In each company in the Legion, in the French army, do have like some kind of a bar of the company. It's like one large room where they have like
mhm.
it's like a bar basically, and we'll have a small celebration there, and you can have that discussions there. But the thing is, the officers with officers, NCOs with the NCOs, legionnaires with the legionnaires, and it's just natural like that. It's not that we cannot speak with each other. It's just that it's natural like that.
Oh
Okay.
no,
But
here with us it's very much mixed. It's very much mixed. Officers,
for us,
uh,
it's
the
not really mixed because like God complex.
yeah, ours doesn't have guard complexes. I had a, I had a discussion of, I had a debate with an officer when I did some reserve exercises. Like, we just behaved like normal people. Like, it was just a normal interaction, human interaction between me and him. We had a political debate, no problem.
All right, but
Hmm.
check this out. I'm going to like resume for the most part the French lieutenant, right? Every French lieutenant believes that he's the next Napoleon or General Louis Pétain.
Ah, okay. Yeah. The Swiss Army have not this
Every lieutenant
mentality. We
believes
are
that
just
he's the
happy when we
shit.
are finished. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I know about the German ones, but this is like how to make a small resume of the French officer,
Yeah.
mainly the French officer from the Legion.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's seen as a citizen, like Staatsbürger in uniform. That's pretty much the main
Yeah.
prerogative. Where you want, yeah, you also want to be as a seen as a
Yeah.
citizen soldier, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
That's a whole other mentality, other level. That's something
Yeah.
else.
Because we say,
Yeah.
look, you have your job and your function, and this is what you do it, and not you have this job and now you're God. This is a little bit different mentality. Swiss is a little bit similar in this way.
And seeing how the Germans are, it will be kind of weird to see every single fucking lieutenant from the German army thinking that he's the next field marshal.
Yeah, I think a French officer not survive in the German.
It,
Mm.
it's very much chill. It's very much just, you are a human. Like, it's very much anti-authoritarian, if you will, from the bottom up. That's why it's very much like,
I
the only
see,
thing
I
that's usually
understand.
problem there is usually bureaucracy, because it's usually horrible. But it's very much on a human level, on a soldier level, and training level is usually very good. Usually, what fucks us and what we mostly have problems is bureaucracy. Like, overall, the German army is a very good army from its training, from its structure, from how it works. Its problem is recruitment and in its bureaucracy, and it's usually the people who are not in the military. And some, okay, of course, there's some asshole officers.
Yeah, that's we have everywhere. Or stupid
But
guys.
just, just a question mark.
Hmm?
Um, for the
Hmm?
In the German military, a lieutenant, how many years he's together with his section, his platoon or whatnot?
How many years? Depending, probably two.
For us, it's two. For us, it's two.
Two. I think that's something that's I think very similar for officers. I think officers' careers, how they built up, how they long they are. It's usually something similar like that because they get promoted and stuff like that, and get higher and stuff like
Years
that.
and whatnot.
Especially if the guy is not a professional soldier yet.
Hmm.
He's a definite. He needs to have these kind of these steps he needs to have been through, and yeah, it's just for experience. He needs to have the experience for us. Also, the thing is, every officer goes to basic. There is no academy in Germany. We don't have academies. That means every officer goes through normal basic training with everybody else.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a little bit weird because, and sometimes the NCOs even push something. You have something called the Litzen, and our ranks, because the ranks are still on the shoulders. There's a little silvery thing, and that's basically their officer candidate. And
Do you hear me,
then
boys?
yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. Just the voice for you, Mark, is a little bit go down, but talk just wider.
Oh.
It's the signal. I can do nothing about this.
No problem. That happens.
Hmm.
It's then he's an officer candidate, and essentially he goes through basic training. Then he's sent through something called, I think, was it Fähnrich?
Mhm.
Essentially, then he's through Fahnenjunker. Then he's going through the Fahnenjunkerlehrgang. That means he's basically going through the experience of a lower NCO, so basically sergeant stuff. So, and that's after his period being in the normal grunt. Then he does the NCO stuff a little bit till he's the rank of Fahnenjunker, and after Fahnenjunker, he's promoted to lieutenant, and then he's an officer. But then he also needs to go through certain things in his career depending on what he does. That there's certain milestones he always needs to reach and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Swiss Army is so right now. My time was in 1 year. It was lieutenant. Now, when I right informed, is 1.5 year that you are lieutenant. But you make the basic training. Then after that, you make the corporal, and you make just base. You make the soldier in the basic training. You make the corporal in the basic training and teach the next generation of soldiers. And then you make one instruction more as a lieutenant, and after that you go in the new unit or regiment when you so want. Yeah.
In the French military, it's extremely focused on the academy.
Yeah.
Like very few people are how to say start from the bottom line from like a soldier or a legionnaire, and then they became officers. Very few.
Yeah.
Personally, I saw a couple of guys hitting the Legion that started from legionnaire to captain. I saw a couple of them, but again, not a lot.
Not a
So
lot, no.
I also believe it's this god complex of the officers comes from because they're already young with too much power and influence.
Yeah. I think with 25 they are already finished with the process of academy, and then you are directly with guys with maybe have 20 years of service, something like that.
Yeah,
With
exactly,
us,
exactly.
Yeah.
With us, they need to reach a certain mile points, and like after finishing their NCO stage, essentially, they're sent not to an academy but to a civilian military university.
Okay.
This is because they essentially act as normal civilians because they don't walk with uniform. It's very chill for another 2 years. For depending on how their studies is, they usually do masters and bachelors, but can also just be bachelors sometimes. But then, funny enough, when they're finished, and of course before that they also have gone to the officer school. Then after they finished, they they need to go through basic training again as officers, so as young lieutenants, and then they lead, and then they need to lead a basic training like a company themselves.
Okay.
So they basically do basic training as basically an instructor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you learn really it's like similar like the Swiss Army in one way, because when you make
Yeah.
maybe say a captain or a captain, also in the rank, then you go starting make really military schools, sometimes study. When you make professional, when you are milis, then you have just the schooling, because there go somewhere go professional, and the other go more in a milis way, as this just conscription way of high ranks. But this give couple of lieutenants. I have a good friend who is captain, but he's conscript captain when he's the one.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's
Hey, you guys.
Elias, just a quick question.
Yeah.
Just a quick question, Elias. If you have to make like a resume of the Swiss army,
Yeah.
would you say it's comparable with the Bundeswehr, more or less, in terms of doctrine system and how you do the
I say
things?
yes. I say yes, because the basic was inspired of the German army makes for the Preußen too, and it's just adapted of the Swiss way. I think, but the basic is the similar. Clear culture, history, and time change systems, but the basic is, I think, the similar.
I
And also,
understand. Well, you have a pretty good base, better than the French one.
Yeah, this is one.
I think it's kind of funny that the French finances and also procurement is way better, but all your structures are very rigid, very top down. Our structures are very much bottom up, but our bureaucracy and our procurement is shit. It's kind of funny
It's
that
yeah,
like
it's
what our
paradoxal into a way.
Say it again.
It's quite kind of a paradox, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah,
having the other side of the coin also.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
But with the
But
thing
you're
for with the French officers, by the way, just one thing I want to mention, at least in the Legion, I see it in that way. They're extremely career focused. What does that mean? It means that if they have to sacrifice their whole company just to assure that they're going to be colonels one day, they are going to let their whole company die.
it's heavy.
shit. Yeah.
Now, some people will say that, oh, it's an over exaggeration. Well, not really. Say that to any legionnaire of any basic legionnaire, he might just as well agree with me,
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is kind of heartbreaking. That's one of the reasons why I didn't resign, and I'm not really willing to
because
continue with
what
this
is a little bit
mentality.
funny about the Legion,
Oh.
sometimes I feel when I hear you, the Legion have actually a basic of a little bit of German mentality, because the Legion was original from a German company, and as a German regiment and a Swiss regiment joined together, and this was the basic of the foreign French Legion. And I think
Yeah,
some
back in the day, back in the
the
early
day,
years,
the
right?
years, yeah. And then you have the clear of the history. The Germans, well, after World War II, have need a job. Then many goes maybe in the French army too, and after World War II, the similar. And there you feel sometimes a little bit basic when you're listening. Sometimes the second regiment, you have similar songs like the German Fallschirmjäger in one way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mark, do you know the song Teufelslied?
yeah,
Yeah, it's still sang by the Germans. An adapted version of it.
yeah,
Of course, the Legion has sings also. They have adapted also to the Legion because the second rep, the second para regiment of the Legion, took the whole um, song line. They just changed the lyrics to be about the regiment, right?
yeah,
But it's the regimental song, the Teufelslied.
yeah,
We also have Edelweiss as the official song of the Legion.
yeah. You
One,
hear?
two, three. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I just hear the beep beep, but I think it's Mark, because I think you have
Sorry.
the.
Yeah, somebody called me.
Ah, okay, okay, no problem.
Oh, okay. What was the last thing? What was the last thing that you heard?
From the
No,
Teufelslied.
no, no, not you. No, not you, Mark.
And that's I think the last thing I heard was something about the song. I think we were the song, and then you guys were transitioning to something else, and I think there was the cut.
No, no, no. So basically, the Legion, like after the World War II, a lot of Germans
Oh
came in
yeah,
the Legion.
Mm-hmm.
About 80% was made of Germans, and the second rep was made entirely from the old German paratroopers, mainly from SS. troops, and basically they adapted the Teufelslied song to the Legion. They kept the same musical line. They just changed the lyrics to be about the Legion, about the Second Rep Regiment. As a German song, we also have the Edelweiss as an official song.
Yeah,
Ah, ja, Gebirgsjäger.
yeah.
Mountain infantry.
What we have, there's an old German song called the Windmill,
Mm-hmm.
still from the Wehrmacht. What we also have, Annemarie, again, like in
Yeah,
German, if I remember
it's really
correctly.
no idea.
And what we do still have? What was the name of that song? Ah, yeah, the Kepi Blanc song. Because the Kepi Blanc song, of course, they changed the whole lyrics, but the song line is the same song from the Panzer SS division.
Mm.
Okay, yeah.
So
Many, many, many things left from SS in the Legion.
I wanted to ask something with specific with the Legion, with the nationalities and with the ranking up. What kind of guys are currently like? I think is it still a lot of Ukrainians, or have they died down? Is it more like East Asians? Is it still sometimes
Other,
eventually Europeans?
so up until now, up until now, it was really Nepalis, 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 Nepalis.
Really?
Too much, too
Oh shit.
much, and
I
not,
guess they didn't
and
got
not.
in the Gurkhas.
No, because they got refused by Gurkhas, they got refused by the Indian Nepalese regiments,
Yeah,
and
Indian
so yeah,
Gurkha.
they basically they ended up here. They were so shit that they had to come in the legions.
Uh,
Yeah,
it,
Nowadays, from what I saw, it's like a wave of Latino guys coming
yeah, okay.
really? Mm.
Yeah. Maybe from
right after the
Colombia or something like that.
mainly Colombia, Brazil, and
Yeah,
you'll have every now and then you'll have a couple of like Argentinians, Mexicans.
yeah.
Mm.
I also have a one Bolivian guy in my section,
Mm.
in my company. What I have two Argentinians in my company and three Peruvian people just in my
How
company. But they're
how many?
so they're like
Yeah,
yes.
I want to ask how many like Western Europeans, Germans, Americans, uh, Dutch, English,
Extremely
Irish.
few, extremely few, extremely few, extremely few, and sometimes it's actually spread apart. Uh, in my regiment, there are like a couple of Americans.
Really?
Personally, I know three Americans that are in the regiment. Up until Mars, we had one British guy, two British guys. One of them deserted. The other guy just finished his contract, went home.
Mm.
We had a Canadian that left
Mm.
for Guyana for 2 years. He's going to be in
Where
the
did he
regiment
live
for
to?
2 years. Guyana.
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 Ja, Guyana. Französisch Guyana.
Yeah, no, yeah. I didn't understand that why. Cool.
What we also have? I know a German Swiss guy that's also in my regiment,
Ja, okay.
Ah,
Don't say his
but
name.
it's one name. It's just one.
yeah. Don't say his
Okay.
name.
It's just one.
Yeah.
But it's just one.
Okay,
It's
okay.
just one. It's just one.
If
But
Germans
like in
really
the whole
died out.
regiment, I think uh, I haven't saw German in my regiment. I don't remember when. I don't think that I have ever saw. Oh yeah,
Mm.
I saw one. I did saw one, but just saw his name and just asked you're German. Yeah, said welcome, and that's it.
Mm. Interesting.
That I think it was the only. We have like what we have Eastern Western Europeans. Some Spanish guys. Sometimes you'll find some Spanish guys in Portuguese. But mainly kind of that's it.
Are mm, are West
You
are is it like is there a difference between like do they does the Legion prefer European or Western guys to certain for both to NCO a little bit, or is there a little bit more preference for certain people who they think
or
would be
French.
fitting? So
Yeah,
again,
French.
Yeah, French.
French. They push the French people,
uh,
Yeah.
uh,
which kind of
okay,
makes sense. It kind of makes
yeah,
sense because like you want to help the guys that are in the same from the same nationality and mentality like you. You want to help them a little bit, right? and the French higher ups are quite happy with that because in terms of having like francophone people in your section, it's a great advantage to actually make the guys to learn French better, evolve.
Mm,
Because if you have a section made out of a fucking Nepalis or Indians, guess what's going to happen? It's going to happen that you'll have guys with plus than 5 years of service that still have the level of French of a guy in his first year of service. Why? Because the Nepalis and
yeah.
Indians and other nationalities like that, they always stay with each other, tribal type like mentality.
Yeah, makes absolutely sense. Yeah, and are the European are the people who are from Europe, are they seen more positively, or like predestined for, like, or they try to put them towards NGO direction or something like that?
The thing with the NCO, you have to be a volunteer already, but the higher ups will propose for anybody actually, but you have to be a volunteer already
Mm,
to be an NCO because when you go to NCO, you also need to resign because there is a big investment that the French army is doing with that. Because to be an NCO, already 2 months of formation to be a corporal and 4 months to be an NCO, a sergeant mainly focus, because that's the
mm,
focus of the formation of the NCO, the work of the chef de group, of
mm,
a squad leader, a sergeant.
mm,
So it's quite of a big investment with something like that. That's why they ask you to resign about 3 years minimum for
mm.
the investment to be worth it.
And also, prior military experience. Do you prefer like, from what I heard, they prefer either people who have no military experience at all, or prefer guys who are hardcore.
Before the 2022, they this I heard from the guys much older in service than I was.
Yeah.
Mm,
They told me that when they got in, they would rather prefer somebody that already has some like military experience, guys that did their military service or that did army for a couple of years in their country. Like Americans with their 4 years of service and coming in will have quite of an advantage compared to some other guys and whatnot. Extremely rarely you'll see also guys that are like 18, 19, 20, because they will also, at the time, they'll also like to have guys that have some experience in life,
Yeah.
mm.
work, to wake up in the morning, to know how to deal with a task at the workplace and whatnot.
Mm.
Because nowadays it's kind of a babysitting service sometimes.
Shit.
Interesting. Oh, yeah.
Sometimes. But check this out. Like one British guy that was in my company who was he had 8 years of service here, but he also had 8 years of service in the UK back in the day when he was younger. So
Shit.
already that was quite of an advantage for him.
Okay.
Wow.
But you have to remember that doesn't really mean just because you had some military service back in the day, it didn't mean that you're going to get in, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mentality speaking and whatnot. Because you can just go on in the Gestapo for the questioning. They're going to check everything on you, and they might find some like forbidden porn, for to say it, for lack of better words. You might have some illegal porn if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and that's going to be a deal
I'm
breaker
aware.
right away.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. I heard that's a
we're coming
deal
now a
breaker.
little bit to the finish because we are already talking 2 hours 10 or something like that.
Shit. It was so much
Yeah,
fun.
it's going to be long for the. It's going to be quite long for the audience to listen
Yeah, yeah,
for.
because
So
I
I
see
think it's.
now we're
Mm,
starting to drop a little bit down because I think now we're starting to be tired. Yeah, I think we come now to the last question. The last question is: you think after the basic training, also after the 4 weeks instruction, you are ready for a military mission outside?
Personally, I don't, because
Yeah.
after those 4 months of instruction,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you can be thrown in a trench and hold the line.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one thing. But for like a mission outside somewhere, no, because
Yeah.
already we knew the work to work just and only with the rifle and not with some other weapons like a basic machine gun
Yeah.
or the 50 caliber or a grenade launcher. all of these weapons are our tools to do the mission. So I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't think so. To hold the line like a defensive something, something
It's
like
no
that.
offensive
Yes.
action, but defensive, yes. Okay.
Yeah, or patrolling in the cities, or for example, this mission with Gibraltar that's in
Yeah.
France, where you patrol in the city. Yeah, for that we are okay too.
Okay, perfect.
But for like a real mission, no, I don't believe so.
No, okay.
There is much more to learn always.
Yeah, of course. From my side, from the Swiss Army, I can say yes, because we are specialty on air defense, and I think it's an important unit in the battlefield. You won't have so quick, we fast as this on the field, and say, yeah, we are ready, we are able to shoot down planes, identify is this friend or foe, and so we can fight it. So from my side, for that task where we need to do it, I'm ready, and I know other guys of the Swiss Army and know what you need to do it, they are able to do this. Yeah. And so from my side, yes, we are able to do our job for the field.
From what I can tell, and also the German army even says it, they prefer to send guys to a specific called deployment center.
Yeah.
That's and they want to send you through there for a while before you even go and your unit through there before they even send you to a deployment. So the German army says already no.
But when your country is under attack, I think this is maybe the scenario. You think you're ready to fight for your country and do something important in the battlefield?
The defending line, definitive. Infantry, probably defending the line, I think, probably. The other thing, I don't know. I think that's the best answer I could give.
Okay.
But generally speaking, Mark, generally speaking, like with all the information and all the teachings that you have at the end of your basic instruction, what type of mission do you think that you're quite ready for? Something defensive, like I said before, or something else?
Mark?
Let me say it again. I didn't hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I say quickly. The question is just: are you ready to holding a trench, or you are ready to, like similar?
Just holding. I think just holding a trench. Just holding a trench.
Yeah, holding a trench.
So basically, holding the line. So basically, holding the line, like I said.
Yeah. Holding a line.
No.
Yeah.
No, good.
Yeah.
I understand.
Perfect.
Nice perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Of course.
So that's pretty much
yeah. I think this
pretty
is
much our main line.
Yeah. Then we are all, I think, of the good line and similar way. But it was really interesting, I think, the talk. We talk now many general about, I think, the army, because the basic training is a little bit mainly about culture. And that was interesting for everybody. What do you think about this?
We should do this again.
We do the app, of course. I think we need to do this again.
Are you still recording right now, or?
I now finished to start. As I finish now the recording, I say just bye on the audience, and then we can talk a bit private when you want.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, also Leute, das ist das Ende vom Interview, ein bisschen ausgeartet ist ein bisschen links und rechts gegangen, aber ich glaube, es ist auch mal interessant gewesen für euch zuzuhören. Es ist maybe, I'm sorry that's go the interview a little bit left and right, but I think it's interesting to listening different armies, different structure, and then I think here in this interview you have a lot of information where you can have a good picture of different armies, how they works in the soldier level when you want. So, I see you next time. I think tomorrow I have a big answer to recommend to say what I do the next time. And we see the next live stream tomorrow. Schattenstrategie, ganz einfach. Wir verteidigen unser Land. Pam. Zack. First live stream down. Second live stream down. So. I'm tired.
Schnack, 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 den Schubeladen.
Jawohl.